Greetings. This month's article is about how immigrants are leaving and how the U.S. economy is surely going to start getting smaller because of it. What's happening? Well, number one, a lot of immigrants are afraid of being detained. They see what's going on. People are doing what they're supposed to do, go to their interviews, go to their court dates, uh, go to get fingerprinted. And what's happening? They're being detained by ICE. Their court cases are being dismissed by the government attorney, and then they get detained by an ICE officer who's wearing a mask, who would ever think that would happen here in the United States? And so people are deciding to leave or they're being detained. They don't want to go to some swamp in Florida. They don't want to just disappear to another country. So a lot of people are deciding to leave and not go to court. And they get deported once you leave. So, and right now, a lot of people think, that's good. They shouldn't be here in the first place, even though they entered legally, because when they entered, they applied for asylum. They entered the border, the only place that most Latinos can apply for asylum. I mean, I think all Latinos who are fearing persecution can apply for asylum at the border. They can't go to a refugee camp because there's none in Latin America. And so they're being detained and they say, well, we're not going to do this. We're going to go back, or they're getting deported. And so what's happening is right now that's happening against immigrants. But in the future, what's going to happen is it's going to affect the U.S. economy. And we're already seeing signs of it in California, where there's not enough people to pick up the crops, to work in the agriculture industry. And California is one of the biggest agricultural producers here in the United States. We're going to see it affecting healthcare. We're going to see it affecting construction. There's many areas, and also the money that these young families spend, they're not going to be spending money here in the United States. They're not going to be sending money back home. So that means that all these other countries are going to have bigger problems. It's going to be a spiraling effect. Going to be out of control because people, are being removed from this country either voluntarily because of the fear or forcibly because of ICE and detention officials who are following what the administration of President Trump wants. And unfortunately, that's a short-sighted policy. And unfortunately, when I was involved with immigration reform, uh, starting 25 years ago, our goal was to make people legal here in the United States, either through having, and some of the people would have to be legalized through a legalization amnesty, and the other people would have a system where they could enter legally and they wouldn't be crossing the border. They could apply for employment, a job that would help them become residents. But that never happened because unfortunately, a lot of the nonprofits, they say, well, it's too hard. They're never going to happen. It's never going to happen. We don't get the support. Instead of saying we need to make this happen, we have to work hard to make it happen. I know it's easier to get employment authorization, DACA, TPS, parole, all those things, but all those things are why we have this crisis right now of losing essential workers here in the United States. These people are essential workers to keep the economy strong. And we're gonna have a shrinking economy. And it's unfortunate. And what happens is, where a lot of immigrants are going? They're going to Europe. And you know why they're going to Europe? Because Europe has less workers than we do. They already have been hit by the elderly population retiring, requiring more health care. And so they're welcoming immigrants that because before they never welcomed them, but now they know how hard it is to live without immigrant workers. And they're giving them the benefits. I know people who are there a couple of years and they are able to become a resident and they're not being harassed. Unless they're coming in an unorganized manner. That's different. But here, there is an organized manner. People entering the border are applying for asylum. That's not illegal. That's not wrong. But we should have had a better system. And the effort was put in 25 years ago. A process was brought to the proposal. The Freedom Act was brought to President Bush. He was ready to sign it. And unfortunately, Congress never worked with the people who wanted to improve immigration laws so that we would have a working legal immigration system. So now the economy of the United States is going to suffer greatly. And unfortunately, that affects the rest of the world because the rest of the world depends on the U.S. economy also. So it's going to happen. It's happening. And those who are cheering now that all these immigrant workers are being deported and they're thinking, oh, now we're going to have a lot more jobs. They're going to have a lot more agricultural jobs, a lot of jobs that they can't do because of their age and things like that. We're going to suffer economically because of this short-sighted uh, administration now, and because of the short-sightedness of those who are supposed to be working to help immigrants. Thank you.